Good evening and welcome to Express News with me, Deepika, your daily half-an-hour window that brings you 100 news and updates from the country and the world in just 30 minutes. Let's begin. In his reply in the upper house of the Indian Parliament to the debate on the motion of thanks on President's address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke on a number of issues highlighting the government's initiative for progress in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the firm stand taken by his government on Uniform Civil Code. Prime Minister also asked the opposition to know that his government is walking the line of the constitution makers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke about the alternate development model that gave the citizens a new chance at development that focused on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Speaking on the conditions of the middle class before and after BJP's government, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about increased income tax exemption slab from 2 lakh rupees decades ago to 12 lakh rupees in the current budget. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also highlighted various schemes like Ayushman Bharat Yojana for the elderly people and the RERA law that are securing the middle class dream of owning a house. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that freedom of speech was strongly controlled during Congress's rule wherever possible. Prime Minister Narendra Modi slammed Congress, mentioning about the atrocities and actions against the famous personalities who dared to speak or express their minds against then ruling government. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar made statements in both the houses of the Indian Parliament on the issue of the deportation of illegal migrants by the United States. External Affairs Minister said that the government is engaging with the Americans to ensure deportees are not mistreated. The minister added it was in the collective interest of everyone to discourage illegal mobility. Dr. S. Jaishankar further clarified that the deportation of Indians who entered the US illegally is not without precedent. Both houses of the parliament took up question hour on Thursday. Important issues including on the Jal Shakti mission and food processing industries were raised and answered by the lawmakers. In the upper house of the parliament, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar responded to a question on monitoring of Indian students abroad post-conflict escalation. India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Kirti Vardhan Singh, met the Secretary General of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Nurlan Yermibekyayev, at Hyderabad House in New Delhi on Thursday. During their discussions, both the leaders emphasized the importance of strengthening regional cooperation under the SCO framework. During his visit, UNGA President called on President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The President appreciated his leadership in the adoption of the Pact for the Future in September 2024. The spiritual fervour at Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj continues as devotees take the holy dip in the holy river Sangam. As of Wednesday, 38 crore 97 lakh people have participated in the sacred ritual. Mahakumbh 2025 is setting a new benchmark while also delivering a message of unity and cultural heritage. The fair is also hosting diverse cultural programs. Pune Municipal Corporation has sealed 30 private water supply plants in Nanded village and surrounding areas due to unfit drinking water. A Mirage 2000 aircraft of the IAF crashed near Shivpuri, Gwalior during a routine training sortie today after encountering a system malfunction. Both the pilots ejected safely, says the Indian Air Force. In business, at close, Nifty slipped 22.95 points to end at 23,603.35. Sensex was down 213.12 points at 78,058.16. Indian rupee ended at fresh record low at 87.57 per dollar. Gold prices experienced a modest increase on Thursday. The cost of 24-carat gold in India is 86,000 rupees per gram, reflecting an increase of 1,040 rupees. The current price of silver in India is 1,02,700 rupees per kg, reflecting an increase of 1,200 per kg. State Bank of India has reported a significant 84.32% year-on-year growth in net profit, reaching 16,891 crore rupees in the third quarter. Crude oil prices on Thursday climbed 13 rupees to 6,240 rupees per barrel in futures traded as participants increased their positions following firm spot demand. Sterling fell against the dollar on Thursday as investors awaited the outcome of the Bank of England's meeting, at which the central bank is widely expected to cut interest rates. British pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca on Thursday said net profit jumped 18% in 2024, boosted by a strong performance from its cancer medicine sales. Danish shipping giant Maersk reported a big jump in its annual net profit, propelled by freight prices. Donald Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio said any transfer of Cousins would be temporary, while the White House insisted that there was no commitment to sending of the U.S. troops. Rubio said the idea was not meant as hostile, describing it as a generous move that offers to rebuild and to be in charge of the rebuilding. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Washington would not fund Gaza's reconstruction, adding that Donald Trump wanted Palestinians to be only temporarily relocated out of Gaza. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned President Donald Trump to avoid ethnic cleansing in Gaza after the U.S. leader proposed that Palestinians resettle elsewhere. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order banning transgender athletes from participating in women's sports, fulfilling a promise that was at the center of his election campaign 2024. The order, titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, mandates that Title IX, the federal law banning sex discrimination in schools, be interpreted as prohibiting the participation of transgender girls and women in female sports. The order, which is likely to face legal challenges, threatens to cut off federal fundings for any school that allows transgender women or girls to compete in female-designated sporting competitions. The official said the Department of Education would lead investigations into schools to ensure compliance, but that work could shift to other agencies if the department is dismantled. Protests broke out across the United States on Wednesday as demonstrators rallied against President Trump and Project 2025, voicing opposition to his recent executive actions. Guatemala has agreed to ramp up the number of deportation flights it receives from the United States after a visit from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. U.S. Secretary of State also announced on Wednesday that he will sign a waiver for programs aiming at combating drug trafficking in collaboration with Guatemalan authorities. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said he will not attend the G20 summit in South Africa, accusing the host government of an anti-American agenda. Argentina has announced that it plans to pull out of the World Health Organization, following in the footsteps of the United States, which announced its exit from the UN agency last month. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukraine has significantly intensified its communication with the United States administration. Zelensky noted that Ukraine continues to receive military aid from the US, but there is no discussion currently about any prospective packages. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba heads to the United States on Thursday for his first in-person talks with President Donald Trump in Washington. During his visit, Ishiba will be pushing for reassurance on the importance of the US-Japan alliance as Trump's America First agenda risks encroaching on the nation's trade and defense ties. Ukraine's military has claimed responsibility for an overnight strike on a Russian airfield in the Krasnodar region, triggering explosions and fire. According to Ukrainian officials, the airfield is a key base for Russian drone operations and aircraft conducting missions over southern Ukraine. Ahead of the World Summit on AI that will witness global leaders, industry pioneers and policymakers from around the world, France's Prime Minister Prasar Bharati's government convened an inter-ministerial commitment on artificial intelligence in Paris. We are heading for a short break. We'll be right back.
Timeless, boundless and infinite. The essence of faith. The soul of Sanatan culture. From the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching Express News. Let's continue. Historic blizzard brings record-breaking snowfall to Hokkaido, affecting travel and causing widespread disruption across Japan. Snowfall have left the vehicles stranded and prompted warnings from authorities. Train services in parts of central Japan were also cancelled. The weather agency said extremely unstable atmospheric conditions would generate significant amounts of snowfall in the coming days. Snowboarders flocked to Hokkaido amid heavy rainfall. Meanwhile, heavy machinery were deployed to clear snow following heavy snowfall in Obihiro, Hokkaido and northern Japan. Several regions of Mongolia, including the central Gobi and eastern provinces, are expected to experience snowfall and blizzards accompanied by strong winds. Significant drop in temperatures across most of the areas are also expected. Winter chill continues to grip India's Srinagar. The city recorded a minimum temperature of -2 degrees Celsius and a maximum temperature of 14 degrees Celsius. Doda district of Jammu and Kashmir witnessed fresh snowfall, particularly in the higher reaches of the hill. The region received significant snowfall on the 4th and 5th of February, further lowering the temperatures. Himachal Pradesh's Kullu district transforms into a winter wonderland with a fresh spell of snowfall. The extreme temperatures, however, did not stop the tourists from exploring these tourist destinations. As per the Met Department, the maximum temperature over West India is expected to rise by 2 degrees Celsius over the next 4 days. According to Indian Meteorological Department, the maximum temperatures in central, east and south India are likely to be between 3 and 5 degrees Celsius above normal, 3 to 5 degrees above the normal category for the next 4 to 5 days. Torrential rain prompts stream to spill over in northern Bolivia. The overflow of the Bahia stream led to the deployment of rescue efforts by the authorities. The floods in Bolivia has affected at least 100 families. According to the authorities, 30 families have been shifted to a temporary shelter. Scorching summer temperatures in Rio de Janeiro have driven residents and tourists opting for a nighttime beach visit. Families, friends and couples gathered by the beach's shores to enjoy the cool breeze and illuminated beachfronts. Temperatures have been forecast to hit a high of 39 degrees Celsius on Thursday and 38 degrees Celsius the following day in Rio. January set surprising heat record, defying La Nina cooling expectations. Europe's climate monitor reported last month as the hottest January on record, with temperatures 1.75 Celsius above pre-industrial levels. A heartwarming video released recently shows giant panda cubs playing with a small bamboo basket at the Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding in southwest China's Sichuan province. The basket has been provided to the pandas as part of a larger enrichment program aiming at fostering natural behaviors, preventing repetitive actions, and meeting the pandas' physiological and psychological needs. Thousands of visitors gathered at the traditional horse racing festival in Vietnam's Phu Yen province. This year, 32 local horses participated in the event. Most of the racing horses are mares, usually used for transporting agricultural goods. They are particularly skilled at maneuvering through rough and slippery terrains. Puppy Bowl, the 21st, which is considered one of the cutest competitions of the year, is set to return for its 21st year on Sunday. The annual 3-hour show will feature 142 rescue puppies from 80 shelters across 40 states and 2 countries. 11 special need dogs such as Ujjolene, an American Pit Bull Terrier mix competing in a wheelchair, and Sprinkle, a blind and hearing impaired Australian Shepherd mix, will participate, showcasing their resilience and spirit. The People's Committee of Ninh Oao Town in Vietnam organized a flower boat festival and boat racing on Dinh River with the participation of thousands of residents and tourists. In Vietnam this year, the Flower Boat Parade competition saw the participation of 28 boats representing communes and wards in the area. Plum blossoms covered the hills of Bac Ha, a district in Lao Chai, Vietnam, turning the area white. Bac Ha is renowned for its 2 types of plums, Tam Pao plum and the Van plum. In Cyprus, scientists have launched the Tiganokinisi initiative involving children in recycling used cooking oil into biofuel. The initiative visits schools with a caravan, conducting experiments, and encourages students to bring used oil from home. The oil is then collected, filtered, and sold for biodiesel production. The project aims at addressing the global issue of millions of liters of cooking oil being discarded annually. Female ice skaters team up for the first time ever to break gender barriers. Olympic ice dancing champions Gabriella and Madison are set to perform together during the Art of Ice Gala in February. Dozens of shiny decades-old sports cars from Ferraris and Bugattis to Porsches filled Paris Grand Palais on the eve of an auction. Around 100 vintage vehicles were on display ahead of the sale. The ritualistic dance was performed at Sri Durga Parameshwari and Navaguliga Kshetra in Barkaji in the Indian state of Karnataka. The traditional event is dedicated to the Navaguliga Daivas, revered deities of the Tulanadu region. The ceremony reflects deep-rooted cultural and spiritual traditions of the region. Makers of Jurassic World Rebirth have released the first trailer of the film. The film stars Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali. Action sci-fi film Jurassic World Rebirth, that follows two trilogies of films in the dinosaur movie franchise, is scheduled for its release on the 2nd of July. Britain's Royal Mail unveiled a stamp collection featuring photos of Australian rock band AC/DC to mark 50 years since the release of their debut album High Voltage. The collection released by Britain's Royal Mail contains images of the band's previous album covers alongside various photos of the band performing in cities across the world. The highly anticipated Netflix crime thriller The Whisper Man has gained significant momentum. Robert De Niro is set to star in the adaptation of Alex North's best-selling novel. Sony Pictures has revealed the cast of the upcoming Anaconda reboot starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd. The movie will be released in the month of December. Australian all-rounder Marcus Stoinis has retired from one-day international cricket with immediate effect to focus on T20 format. Cricket Australia on Thursday announced that Australian captain Pat Cummins was ruled out of the ICC Champions Trophy along with pacer Josh Hazlewood. The Pakistani Cricket Board on Thursday announced that the renovation and upgradation work at Lahore's Gaddafi Stadium has been completed in record time of 117 days and it is now ready to host the international matches. Indian batter Virat Kohli is missing the first one-day international against England in Nagpur on Thursday due to knee injury. Batter Yashasvi Jaiswal and pacer Harshit Rana were handed their maiden ODI caps against England. Sri Lanka finished their day 1 at 229 for 9 wickets in the second test against Australia at Galle on Wednesday. Australia will tour West Indies in June and July for a 3-test series and 5 T20 matches series. It will be Australia's first tour since 2015. At the 38th National Games of India, Karnataka lead the medal tally with 28 gold medals, followed by services and Madhya Pradesh. Real Madrid avoided an upset by defeating Leganes by 3-2 to reach the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey on Wednesday. Newcastle United have reached a second League Cup final in 3 seasons as they overwhelmed Arsenal by 2-0 in the second leg match of semi-finals. Manchester United defender Lisandro Martinez has suffered a cruciate ligament injury during the second half of United's 2-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. Brazilian forward Neymar made his long-awaited return to his childhood club Santos in a lackluster 1-1 draw with Botafogo. Italian qualifier Matteo Bellucci handed world number 7 Daniel Medvedev an early exit from Rotterdam Open. The United States Golf Association has created an exemption category for LIV Golf players to compete in the US Open. The NFL on Wednesday said it would play its first game in Australia in 2026 as the league grows its international footprint. And with this, it's a wrap here on Express News for now, but news and updates will continue here on DD India. So don't go anywhere, keep watching and keep tracking DD India for all latest news and updates from the country and the world. Thank you so much for joining us right now. Namaskar.